Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Give me 1 second. My camera is not working. Let me check. There it is. There it is. Hello, 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 team. Oi, oi, oi. Wow. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Insane to see all the people here supporting immediately. It's crazy to see, to be honest. I have the chat on my left side, so that's why I'm looking at the left side if you're wondering. Hello, hello. Handsome mate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Oi, oi, oi. Wow, wow, wow. I missed it too. I'm a bit nervous, to be honest. It's quite overwhelming. So many people. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. It feels good. It feels like this is what it's about, no? At least the live stream for me is, I don't know. This is a lot more valuable to me than just the videos. It feels like I'm actually connecting with people. And videos is like, I don't know. Feels very distant. Where have you been? Got married? No, I didn't get married. I didn't get married. No. It was the spring enrollment. Spring enrollment just took a lot of time, a lot of work. Was definitely worth it. Enjoyed it a lot as well, but there was a lot going on. A lot going on. But soon, like quite fast afterwards, I already realized like I missed the live streams and I missed the connecting part. A lot. Love from Nigeria, of course. Where's everyone from? I imagine South Africa. We had a lot of people. Nigeria, India, of course. USA, of course, as well. A lot of people. Love to see it. Qatar. That's insane. That's insane. Kenya. Greece, also a lot of people from Greece, I imagine. Yeah, Switzerland were also a lot of people, actually. Netherlands. Oi, oi, oi. The home country. Love to see it. Love to see it. Dubai. Oi, oi, oi. Wow, that's insane. Insane. I've never in my life seen the chat go this fast, to be honest. It's absolutely insane to love. I'm a bit overwhelmed. It's you all make me a very happy man. I love to see it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I miss you all too. I saw one name, by the way. Well, I see quite a lot of names. Nick, for example, is also a name that's been here for a long time. James Joseph, I saw as well. Hope, yes. That's what I wanted to find. Hope, I needed to find you because I wanted to add you as a moderator. Because I lost that. Let me see. Yes, perfect. All right. Perfect. Wow. Insane. Egypt. Love to see it. Which country is that? Indonesia or Poland? And I'm not the best with flags. Not the best with flags. Indonesia and Poland always, they confuse me a little bit. What about me, sir? Marvelous Opera, of course, my friend, of course. There's a lot of names that are very familiar. Pablo, yes, also very familiar. 100%. Love to see it. Are you in the Netherlands? No. I'm not in the Netherlands. I was in the Netherlands a few weeks ago. All right, let's get it started, actually, right? Hope you're good, bro. I'm doing amazing. I am doing amazing. Hope everyone is having an amazing time as well. Let's try to make the community again a little bit of a better place with the forecast. I'll try my best. Hi, Arinomi. Yes, Wahid. Yes, 84. The 84 does it. The 84 helps remind me. Yes, I do remember you. Yes, I do. Good to see you too, my friend. Morocco, insane. All right, let's get it started. I have 2 screens and you have to help me. I think I have an ID. Can you reopen the MMT with a monthly payment possible, please? Yes, we have something coming very soon for the MMT as well. So keep an eye out for that. It will be very soon that will open up with monthly payments as well again. All right. We have something here. I have two type screens. I have this one and I have this one. Now, I think for the forecast, I'll just keep it to this one, stick to this one. And if I'm talking again, I'll do this one, which my cam is not working for that one. I'm not 100% sure why that is. If it's not working at all, then I'll just not use it. Let me check. There it is. Hello, hello, hello. All right, let's dive into the forecast. Afterwards, we can just go over any question, of course, that you might have. Again, if I miss a question, don't worry. You don't have to spam it. But the chat is oftentimes quite chaotic, so that's why I might miss it. Nothing personal, my friend. All right, perfect. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to go over is the US dollar right here, and let's go into the monthly time frame right here, and let's see what we're doing. So the past month has been quite messy, to be honest. It's been quite messy delivery. And for myself, I had a break-even month in the month of May. Not the best price action, not my best month. It was quite a bad month for myself. And right here, the dollar in the meantime has been consolidating a lot. So on the monthly, what can we see? Monthly, currently, the only thing that we have is that previous month's low that we might be sweeping. So if you want to continue higher, then this is a nice area that we can actually look to continue higher from. Now, on the weekly, what do we have? Not a lot. We had this swing low sitting right there. We can potentially look to target the swing high right there. That could be quite interesting. The next premium array. Afterwards, if we reach that premium array right there in the form of that swing high, we could potentially reach the next few highs and the next few highs right there as well. Could be quite interesting. But in order to do that, we need to be very aware of what we've done in the past right here. We have been consolidating. Consolidation, let's sum it up real quick. What is that again? I made a newsletter actually on consolidation. So if you're interested in that, you can also check that out. But I'll sum it up really quick right here. Consolidations are bullish fair value gaps and bearish fair value gaps, neither of them following through. Following through is a fair value gap creating a new fair value gap of the previous fair value gap. What does that mean? So for example, if we look at this fair value gap right here, we had a retracement back into that right there and created a new fair value gap higher off that. That's very good because that's essentially what happens in trending conditions. If we do not have that and neither side is following through, so bullish and bearish fair value gaps are both not following through, that tells us that we have consolidations. So right here, when we are, and please check if everything is all right as well, because I have the sign in the top right. If my network is weird, then let me know. All right, perfect. Now, right here, what do we see? We have an expansion phase candle higher right there. But the thing is, in a consolidation, we can't trust every expansion phase candle that we might have, because before we had a lot of expansion phase candles. So how can we know, how can price convince us that we might want to get involved again, that we can have high probability conditions again? That's a very important question to ask yourself, because you do not want to get caught up in consolidation price action. That's an endless cycle. If you lose all your money in consolidation price action, in all your profits, that's just a shame, to be honest. So ideally, what we want to wait for and what we want to see, we want to have a daily fair value gap right there being created to then follow through a nice rejection higher of that daily fair value gap to then confirm the trend again. Again, if we want to continue higher, we are in the early stages of potentially continuing higher. We have a lot of targets right there. So we don't have a rush to need to get involved, if that makes sense. We can wait a little bit right there for the highest probability price action to then potentially get involved. The highest probability price action is not tomorrow. It's not going to be Tuesday. Wednesday, I believe we have CPI as well. So take those things into account, and then later on in the week, it could be very interesting to get involved. Even on the 4 hour right here, waiting for a 4 hour fair value gap to actually create a new 4 hour fair value gap. And most importantly, run this high. So not sweep it, because if we're constantly sweeping lows and sweeping highs, we're never getting out of that range. We want to run a high. Running a high is, for example, creating a fair value gap overlapping with that high fair value area, what we went over actually in the recent video on Saturday, respecting that to then continue higher off of that. If we can get something like that, then this right here is the area that we want to get involved in right here. For the rest, we're just waiting essentially until we get new high probability conditions. Why is the dollar here so important? Well, because the dollar determines what the rest of the market essentially wants to do. The dollar is the world reserve currency. The whole world revolves around the dollar, at least economically wise. So right here, if we talk about the indices, we also need to have somewhat of an idea of what the dollar wants to do. So the first one, and I'm not sure actually, I don't believe I have done a forecast with Russell on the list right there. So it's the first time. A first timer, perfect. So if we take a look at Russell, what do we have? Monthly, just not that clear right here. We're coming off that monthly value gap. We're currently not following through higher, not just yet. Weekly, what do we have? We have this weekly value gap. Weekly value gap right there has had a sting into it once, twice. Is that a very strong weekly value gap? Not in my opinion. So here on the daily, can we create a daily value gap, potentially even overlapping with this daily fair value areas right there, to then continue lower off of that? That could definitely be quite interesting. On the 4-hour, very messy price action right here. I would prefer the daily. And why I prefer the daily at that moment in time is because we have a lot of wicks here, not a lot of fair value gaps to work with at that moment in time. So until we start either creating 4-hour value gaps, clearly, or daily fair value gap right there, then we have an interesting situation right here, which we can potentially continue higher from as well. But I do want to mention right here on the indices, we have a different situation. Because if we take a look at the indices, then what do we see? All right, on ES, we have higher prices of the monthly value gap right there. Seems like we're following through nicely at this moment in time. We're continuing higher off of weekly value gaps right there, targeting the context high as well, sitting right there. Perfect, nothing wrong with it. On a daily, what do we have? We have this daily fair value gap sitting right there with a daily fair value area right here. Mark out the body because the wick is not overlapping with the fair value gap. So here, if we want to continue higher, we can potentially continue higher off of this fair value gap. This is very interesting because there's a lot of things going into this. And I did not mention this in the recent video in the fair value area, institutional market structure, market maker model. And the reason for that is because otherwise it gets quite confusing and gets into a lot, because we can make an hour-long video on a certain topic, but it might also be a little bit too much, right? So here, a sign that we might not want to create a market maker buy model to continue higher, to respect the fair value area right there, to continue higher right there, is how we actually reach for that intermediate term high right here in form of this intermediate term high. And what I mean by that is, how are we closing above that high? Here we can see we are not creating a fair value gap overlapping with that high, which is usually one of the signs that we might actually want to sweep to then start seeking liquidity to continue lower, create that market maker sell model right there. Another sign is that we're not even closing above it right there. Another sign is, again, that we have fair value gaps then going back into this fair value gap and disrespecting that fair value gap to then continue lower instead. So if we can continue lower right here, take out this rejection, then we might start seeking liquidity for the remainder of this week right there. That's very important to understand. Now, is that confirmed? Absolutely not. Again, the market needs to convince us to do something. We can get to a bias, but we can't say to the market, hey, you need to do this and just play out. No, because then we get married to a bias. Marrying a bias is, of course, not something we want to do. That's very dangerous. So here, let the market convince us. How can it convince us? Well, here on the 4-hour, we failed to create a 4-hour value gap right there. So if we now get a 4-hour value gap lower right there, and we can confirm that 4-hour value gap with a new 4-hour value gap, then we have very nice areas to target right here in the form of these lows. A little bit earlier, we have nested order blocks right there, fair value gaps as well, which we can use as a target right there, as an early draw liquidity. That is something to pay attention to. Could be very interesting. This is where we use the market structure, institutional, and the market maker models to our understanding and to our advantage potentially this week. So let's see what it wants to do right there. All right, Nasdaq. Similar situation. I'm going to go over it quite fast because it's essentially in the exact same situation right here. The only thing is that is Nasdaq is a little bit stronger right here. So if we were to look at shorts, then ES, for example, would be a lot more interesting. Why? Because ES is weaker. And when an instrument is weaker, it has more downside potential, more bearish potential. It can move lower faster, for example. And that is what we want, of course. So exact same situation right here on Nasdaq. All right, YM. Now YM to me is not that interesting right here. And mainly because it's just been quite a bit of consolidation. I don't really like it right here. So I'm not sure what we can expect. If the other indices want to continue lower, then of course YM will also continue lower right here. The best thing to do if you do want to trade this is just simply wait for a clear fair value gap, then wait for a new fair value gap off of that. And then look, okay, what can we actually do? Then we can move out of consolidation as well. In the meantime, it's just not too clear to me and I don't want to do anything with it. All right, DAX. Now DAX right here is really dependent on what the other indices also want to do. But if we take a look at DAX, then what do we see? We have this fair value area right there. We have that fair value gap. We had 1, 2, 3 stings into that with long wicks at the bottom. All of them we could argue. But we are not following through. We are struggling to continue higher right here. So even with this small fair value gap right there. Again, notice the same thing. It's fractal. It's a similar example right here. When we come above this high right there, we sweep this high to then come back into the fair value gap. Already means the fair value gap right there is lower probability because we're sweeping something to then retrace back into a fair value gap. When that happens, it's usually not a good sign that that fair value gap wants to hold. So here on the 4 hour, we create this 4 hour value gap continuing lower. Perfect. Can we now look at lower price off of that 4 hour value gap and create a new 4 hour value gap lower to then continue lower off that, targeting these lows, and eventually the bigger fair value area that we are in is this right here, this low sitting right there. Again, this is a very far target, right? We always want to use closer targets. So even previous day low, previous day high, earlier targets, that is something that we want to use as well. So DAX and the indices, it could be quite interesting, but we need to have patience right there. Similar to the Forex majors right here. We need to have some patience. Now on Australian dollar, US dollar, we have that weekly value gap. Am I missing something on the monthly? Well, potentially sweeping that monthly swing high right there. Quite interesting. All right, on the weekly, a clear target. I just mark out the closest premium and discount arrays, right? You can probably see that right here. And we see a weekly discount array sitting right there. And on the daily, what do we have? A daily fair value gap in the making right here, which we can potentially continue lower from. That is quite interesting, sitting right there. In the meantime, I don't believe we have a lot of news at the beginning of the week. So I personally also want to wait for the daily value gap for CPI, especially CPI, to then see afterwards, okay, what can we do? Can we actually look to continue lower as well? But the first target is that weekly value gap for me right there. All right, Euro US dollar. Now, this is one that I mentioned in the recent video to study. What is the study opportunity right here? We have this weekly fair value gap right there, which we can continue higher from. We have the context area reached right there. Now, oftentimes what you'll see is, this is a small little nugget, is context areas and context targets especially. So what is context again? Context is when we have a discount array to the first premium array. So the first premium array is that swing high right there. That creates a context area. So this right here is the context area. The context target, in other words, the context right here, the swing high, because that's the target that we use. That is how far we can take entries. So until that line is reached, we can take entries. After that, we need to watch out because either we're going to sweep that or we're going to run that, which on the lower time frame, on a 4 hour, for example, creates a fair value area right here because it's an intermediate to high. Now, when we want to continue lower and start seeking liquidity, this high, the context target, the swing high, is used as liquidity to continue lower from right there. That's why it's very important to see if we want to run or sweep it. So what is the first sign that we might want to run it? What's the first sign that we might want to sweep it? Well, once we create this fair value gap right there, overlapping with the high, that's a really good sign that we might want to run, so that we want to respect the fair value area to then continue higher off that. But as soon as we retrace back into the fair value area right here, with a new fair value gap, that's not a good sign to look for higher prices off of. After we start to consolidate right here, why do we consolidate? We had NFP on Friday right there. So we consolidate, we start sweeping both sides until we have NFP to continue lower right here. And what is NFP doing? Seeking liquidity in the form of what? The fair value area that we have sitting right there. And that is the next target. This intermediate term low, that fair value area low. Afterwards, what can we reach for? Let's take a look. On the monthly, am I missing something? Not necessarily. On the daily, okay, we do not have very clear targets. So I'm going to mark out easier targets that we can reach for. Let's see, we have this fair value gap right there afterwards. And afterwards, we have this swing low right there. And then we have more swing lows as well. So any discount rate that we approach right there, that is what I want to mark out because that's going to be the next target. Again, keep in mind, CPI on Wednesday, I believe. So be very mindful of that before that, be a bit more careful. Afterwards, we can potentially look to get involved. Even right now, we get expansion phase candles and we could argue, wow, this is definitely going to drop off right here all the way towards the bottom. We don't know that because we've been consolidating for a very long time right there. So nothing is very high probability. Nothing is confirmed just yet. That's very important. All right. GU, GBP, US dollar. What are we doing? Zoom out a little bit. We have this target potentially. Keep in mind, GU is stronger right here. It's stronger than Euro US dollar. So the same for ES and Nasdaq, where Nasdaq is stronger than ES. We want to take into account, we want to short the weaker one. Also has less resistance. So here, daily value gap right there to continue lower with the weekly right there as target. Very interesting price action as well. Could be very, very interesting. All right. Then for New Zealand dollar, etc., it's very similar as to what we have done with the first three. Go out to the monthly and the weekly. What do we have? Weekly right here, we have this fair value gap, which we are potentially aiming for. Perfect. How can we deliver there? So we have determined the bias. Now we need the narrative. Well, do we have a clear premium rate right now? Daily, not just yet. 4 hour, we have potentially this fair value gap right there. To continue lower from, to deliver into that drawn liquidity right there. And afterwards, we can also look for low prices. And we can look at, for example, this area right there as the next target. US dollar, Canadian dollar, same thing, just the opposite right here, just inversed. So what do? We have weekly right here. Do we have some swing highs that we can reach for? Right there. Now, US dollar, Canadian dollar is one of the pairs, if I'm being honest, for the Forex majors that I'm the least interested in general. Because US dollar, Canadian dollar has a lot of consolidating characteristics. It consolidates a lot if we compare to EU, GU, AU, for example. So US dollar, Canadian dollar is something that even if it has a nice price action, I would still take it with a little bit of grain of salt because it's consolidating a lot. It tends to consolidate a lot. Now, this right here is a target right there. And then afterwards, we have this swing high as well, which we can reach for. On the 4 hour, what can we see? 4 hour, potentially creating breakaway gaps actually right here. So if we can create a retracement, and we are lucky enough to have a retracement, 4 hour value gaps, daily value gap right there as well, to then continue higher off of that right here as well. Quite interesting. All right, US dollar CHF. Now this one is also quite interesting, but a little bit more difficult. Here we have this monthly value gap, which we could have potentially continued higher from. We do not continue higher off that. We had the first rejection right there and failed to actually deliver higher, which we are seeing right here. So can we still continue higher? On the weekly, we have this weekly value gap as the next target. On the daily, we also have this fair value area right there. So you can potentially see it's quite 50-50. Because here, if the US dollar wants to continue higher, then US dollar CHF will also continue higher. But US dollar CHF, in comparison to US dollar Canadian dollar, has a lot of resistance, has a lot of premium arrays going against us right now. That means that we have to be a little bit more careful here with US dollar CHF. That also means the US dollar CHF is simply set weaker than, for example, US dollar Canadian dollar. So if we look at longs, I would prefer US dollar Canadian dollar right there over US dollar CHF. So here, again, we can potentially look at longs if the dollar wants to be bullish as well, but be a bit more careful right here that it has more resistance going against it. So daily value gap to potentially continue higher from, but again, keep in mind the resistance that we have. US dollar JPY, as we can see as well, stronger than US dollar CHF. So if we look at longs for the dollar, then US$JPY is, for example, a lot more interesting. So here, I do think an easy target is the previous month's high right there. And on the weekly, do we have anything? That's also a swing high right there on the weekly. And on the daily, what do we have? On the daily, we can have quite an easy path to deliver there as well. Look at the 4 hour fair value gap right there to potentially continue higher from. Could definitely be quite interesting as well right here. All right, silver. So silver, we had a nice fair value area right there on the weekly. Also want to go into the monthly, because if we do not want to respect that, what can we reach for? We can potentially reach for a fair value gap right there as well. All right, then on the daily, what do we see? We already have the rejection, actually twice. We have this rejection right there, and we have this rejection higher right there. Both failed to follow through. So both do not create fair value gaps to continue higher off of right there. So if we want to continue lower right here, can we create a daily fair value gap right here on Tuesday to potentially right there, then continue lower off of to eventually seek the liquidity in the form of this fair value area low? That could be quite interesting. Keep in mind the resistance that we have. So this order block right there, this order block as well right there. Those are the resistance areas right there, which could be the reason right there that we create the fair value gap, retrace back into it to then continue lower right there. That could be quite interesting. Definitely keeping an eye on silver right here. Could definitely be quite interesting. All right, then on gold, what do we have? So gold was quite unclear for a long period of time. And what I mean by that is, let's first mark out a target that we might have, monthly fair value gap. What do we have on the weekly? We try to create that fair value area. See again, very similar to the examples we've already gone over. When we sweep highs like this, it's already a lot higher probability that we might actually want to continue lower right here. Now, afterwards, silver was still bullish in this moment in time. So silver and gold were contradicting each other. So here, this consolidation was something that we could have seen coming. We saw it coming right there in the MMT. That's not good because they're contradicting each other with the dollar as well. Unclear. I was actually initially expecting that if silver wants to continue higher, gold might also do something like this to actually continue higher right there. Now that did not happen. We did have a sting right here into these fair value gaps to then create a new fair value gap right here. So I do believe we can deliver into this monthly fair value gap, and then off that monthly fair value gap, we again want to see, okay, do we want to respect that or do we actually want to continue lower? That's very important because again, I do a Sunday forecast right here for YouTube, but a lot will happen throughout the week that we need to adjust, right? We need to react. So the most important thing is reacting. Are we respecting PD rates? Are we disrespecting PD rates? Are we sweeping highs? Are we running highs? Those are, well, the two components I would argue that are the most important. Then right here, on the 4 hour, we can have a 4 hour value gap to already continue lower right here towards the monthly value gap. I am expecting at the beginning of the week already an early sting into the monthly value gap. Then seeing, all right, are we respecting that? So are we, again, creating sharp turns out of that? Or are we just simply continuing lower, respecting fair value gaps right there to continue lower as well? That's important. Bitcoin right here. On the monthly, we had a monthly value gap, which we had a sting into. Now, again, I do believe we can reach for a new all-time high right there. Is it very convincing price action at this moment in time? No, not necessarily. We have this weekly fair value gap. That weekly fair value gap, I do not want to see a retracement back into, ideally. Because if we retrace back into that, that tells us that we're truly not that bullish at this moment in time. So here on daily, we see that we had this daily fair value gap, this small one right there. And then we reached the context high right there as well. Tried to push higher, did not do so. Swept this high right there. So now we have a daily fair value gap on the bearish side. So can we deliver lower right there? If we deliver lower off that and we follow through off that bearish fair value gap, then I would say, okay, next target, weekly value gap, next target, even lower potentially. But I do believe that right here at this moment in time, we are consolidating right here to then eventually still reach the all-time high. We could even sweep the all-time high to then continue lower right there. I'm sorry, Bitcoin hodlers, but it is what it is. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So here, if we have this daily value gap right there on the bearish side, why is the bearish side so important to also have a perspective on? Because if we start disrespecting this daily value gap right now, let's say this candle closed like this. Next candle is a bullish candle and we start creating a bullish fair value gap. Perfect. We can continue higher off that again towards that all-time high right there. And then when we reach the all-time high, we need to monitor. Are we sweeping or running that high? That is very important to understand. So this daily value gap will tell us a lot throughout the week. So react to that. Crude oil. So crude oil, we've been quite bearish in the MMT for quite some time. And the reason for that is because we had this monthly value gap right there. When we had that monthly value gap, we created, or well, actually start off with, we tried to push higher from it, did not happen. We created a bearish fair value gap into the monthly value gap, so on the weekly. Here we have this resistance area right there, which we can continue lower from. So on the daily right here, we had a little bit of consolidation, which is again not too crazy because what is this? It's a 50-50 area right there. 50-50 area again. I used to mention it a lot actually, but I can imagine if some people don't know it because I usually don't really go over it in YouTube videos. But the 50-50 area is the first area where discount and premium meets. And what that means is if we try to push higher off this discount rate, monthly discount rate, the monthly value gap, then we will encounter a first premium rate, which is this weekly bearish fair value gap right there. That is exactly where you will see a lot of 50-50 price action, meaning both bullish and bearish is not strong enough to push higher or lower at that moment in time. It's a conflict of interest, as I like to call it. So here we see 50-50 price action. Afterwards, we reach into the fair value area right there, and we see an aggressive move lower off of that as well. Now here we have this fair value area, which if we want to continue lower, ideally we want to see this fair value area right now getting respected. What do we have going against us? This daily fair value gap. So what do we need to do in order to be bearish? We need to disrespect that daily fair value gap. So here, be very wary of the fact if you take a short right there, short order, then at the moment you take the short order, we might sting into the daily value gap to then continue higher off of that. So I always prefer waiting for this daily value gap to somewhat be disrespected. So seeing that it's not holding on the lower time frame through fair value gaps, to then continue lower right here, to then target the low right here as well, and to then eventually target even lower. But this daily value gap is again quite important right there. All right, Bank Nifty. Let's see. So Bank Nifty, someone told me, and people told me in the MMT that there was an Indian election. So that's why we're seeing a big rejection right here on Bank Nifty. Now on Bank Nifty, I'm going to use the daily because the monthly, etc. is not too clear right now. We have this daily value gap right there. Can we continue lower off that? I don't believe so. We have a big rejection going lower. I believe this big rejection going lower is pure manipulation right there to then continue higher again. So here we do not respect the daily value gap. And how can we know that? The first candle was a down candle. What should the next candle ideally do based on candle signs? Should already continue lower. So here we disrespect the full rejection. We potentially create a new daily value gap and we can look at a new all-time high right there as well. 4-hour value gaps already there, which we can deliver higher from as well. That could be quite interesting. All right. That was the first forecast in a while. What is Bank Nifty? Bank Nifty is, I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's one of the indices for India. And correct me if I'm wrong, please. Wow, wow, wow. Muy bien, perfecto, gracias. Con mucho gusto. Ay, ay, ay. What a forecast. We're back. We're officially back. How does it feel, people? Let me actually... Perfect. I keep forgetting. I need to get used to that as well. The switching. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, the chat is going crazy. I hope... I might need to get you some help. Hopefully everything was understandable. If you do have any pairs that you want me to go over, for example... that's very Maxime, I believe, if I pronounce that correctly. New Zealand dollar JPY, which we can go over. Let's see. I believe now we can have it like this, right? We're a little bit of more, less out of focus or more out of focus. Why does this happen? Let me check. My camera doesn't work for this one. I'm not 100% sure why. Anyway, then we have to do it even like this. Ah, wait. Let me check. Let me check my camera. There it is. Even got the irritation happening here. Cheers from Colombia. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Your voice is smooth though. Do you like my new you can't really see it right here, but do you like the new microphone? I used to have a different microphone, but it was quite, I don't know, the sound was a little bit weird. Yeah, the camera hit stop loss whilst I'm spilling on my mouse mat. Is ICT applicable for stocks? 100%. Are you from the Netherlands? Yes, for sure. Here, the stocks list that I actually was interested in for a long period of time right here. Right here. The microphone increased probability 10%. Exactly. Exactly. How can I reach you directly? Usually, and as well so everyone is aware, if what is it? If you reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter DMs or on info@ario.io, which is the best way to reach me right there, then usually my assistant replies. So that's Derek. Nice guy. So you can just message him as well. And well, if you want to reach me directly, then the best way is the MMT in the Discord. Can you give me a shout out? Of course, Darking. Of course. Breda. No, I'm not from Breda. More from the middle of the country. Flevoland. Fun at friends. We're getting very close to launch. Almost there. I only have one mentorship, and that's MMT. It's MMT. I'm from Flevoland. In the Netherlands. Let me see. New Zealand All JPY. That was the one. I believe I have to switch between cameras, then it stops working. Hello, yeah. Oh, it works? Hello. Yeah, this one works. Perfect. Let's see. New Zealand All JPY. What are we doing? So I was actually quite interested in still having longs overall, but it seems like we're not really following through right here. I want to get an understanding of what we are potentially rejecting off of. That will give us a little bit of a better understanding if we can still continue higher as well. Okay, perfect. So we can potentially deliver back into this weekly VI gap, which if we want to continue higher, we can deliver higher off of that right there, which could be quite interesting. So on the daily, I want to say on the dollar, on daily, what are we doing? We have a daily VI gap potentially continuing lower right there. Again, I mentioned this quite a lot in the MMT. Trading off of a fair value gap is always going to be higher probability than trading from, I say that wrong. Trading towards a fair value gap is always going to be lower probability than trading off of a fair value gap. So what I mean by that is, if we trade towards a weekly value gap, that's always going to be lower probability than trading from it right there. Why? Because here on the left side is where consolidations happen. And then when we want to continue higher, on the right side is where fast price action, beautiful price action happens right there. So if we want to continue higher, it's always better to wait for the weekly value gap to have a tap into, to then look at high prices. So on the 4 hour, I'm not really interested in doing anything right here. I mainly want to wait, put an alert right there, the weekly value gap, to then see what do we want to do. Let's see. Please check New Zealand CGF for sure. My view is it's disrespecting that fair value area on the weekly. This was also actually an example, right, that we had in the video. So let's take a look at this. Monthly, weekly right here, fair value area right there. Now, we are creating expansion phase, continuing lower. So it's very important next week, if we still want to continue higher, take out the fair value gap. Take away the potential fair value gap. So here on the daily, we can see already early on, we had a rejection right here, continuing higher, which we failed to follow through. So you are correct in saying we have very early signs that we might be disrespecting this fair value area right there to then actually continue lower. Again, it's early signs. And the reason I mention it's early signs, next week, it's going to tell us a lot. If we still have a rejection right here to take away the weekly value gap, we might still see higher prices. But if we create the weekly value gap right there and we continue lower, could be very interesting to seek that liquidity right there. Very interesting. The weekly value disrespected my wife. Anyway, okay. Yeah. I missed you all. I missed you all. I missed you too, James. Let's see. What about new series? Yes, great question. And it's money making concepts, or it's going to be the world of fair value gaps. Most likely we're going to do both. So well, not both straight after each other. So the way you can view that is first we have one, then after maybe a month or two we have the other one. And the way I want to approach it is a little bit different than the previous that we had. And I want to make it very hyper focused, hyper condensed. So what that means is a lot of information in a very small amount of time. And that is the goal. 2 videos a week, of course, with the live stream as well. And from there we go. Yeah, BPR is a sharp turn, correct. And a sharp turn is not a BPR, if that makes sense. In stock, this system worked too. Yes, for sure. So actually look at some stocks if people are interested. So for long term, I had Bank of America right here. What is it? Bank of America, right? Yeah. So since around here, it was quite interesting to invest in some stocks right here towards that high right there as well. Afterwards, what can we reach for? Potentially that monthly value gap right there as well. Adobe right here, we've not been continuing higher. So we have this monthly value gap right now. Can we reach for this monthly value gap right there? Right here. Let's look at what I mainly look at in stocks, I mainly look at for investment opportunities, not necessarily day trading or anything, mainly investment opportunities. So if we take a look at that really quick, non-financial advice, by the way, Coinbase, monthly value gap right there, which we can potentially continue higher off of, reaching this context high right there. Palantir, very similar situation right there, monthly value area as well. Shopify, not respecting the monthly value gap currently, so I would be very careful sitting right there as well. Not really interesting for investments. Netflix right here, going for that all-time high right there. Could be quite interesting. Our house fund is friends. It's going very well. We are waiting for the last few things before we can actually look to launch. So launch was estimated to be around middle of June or end of June, something like that. If it becomes July, then that could also be the case. But going very well. We're almost there. After, 6-7 months? Almost 8 months, I believe. We can finally launch. Finally. Almost there. Oh, that's a good question, Steph. Why don't you use Forex futures in your forecast anymore to determine the highest probability crosses? That's a great question. And if we want to look at a filtering process ID for futures, so what I mean by that is a very interesting thing that we have been looking at in the MMT as well is what if you can just take the crosses right there, or the currencies actually, and you only have, let's say, GBP news. You don't need US dollar news, so you don't have to trade GBP US dollar, but you can just trade simply the British pound right there. Could be very interesting. But the reason why I don't do it anymore in the forecast is because it didn't really add anything anymore, I felt. So that's why I took it away, to simplify it a little bit, if that makes sense. I mean, how are you? I'm doing good, young trader. Thank you. Who is Bradley MMT? It's a member, a support member in the Discord. A very good trader as well. Focus a lot on futures, on flow trading plan, so lower time frame, etc. Very good trader. I believe Bradley MMT is name on Twitter, but I believe it's something like something like that on Twitter. So you can go say hi to Bradley on Twitter and just tell him I sent you. Let's see. It's going so fast. Oy. All right, please upload. Yes, every live stream is uploaded in the live stream section. We also have a playlist for the live stream, so you can view it there. If you go to my channel on YouTube, then there's just a live section and everything is uploaded there. Explain order flow, sir. That's very funny. Order flow is one thing. I've seen it here and there from threads where I'm tagged actually in, but I've never mentioned order flow specifically in a video. Well, there's certain topics in the MMT still that I've not mentioned specifically in videos. And I've gone over it vaguely, but not specifically mentioned because I do feel like it's really an MMT thing. And order flow is, to sum it up, I won't go too in depth, but to sum it up, it's PD raise holding towards one side of the market. That's what order flow starts with. And from there, you can already understand, okay, let's see what we have, what we're dealing with. For example, the entry pattern that I go over quite often, where we have a fair value gap, a new fair value gap out of that. That's order flow. Let's see. What is CRT? I don't even want to get started. There's, since we last did the live stream, what was the last time? The last cycle of live streams was all about the questions about what is it? What is the thing called? It's the quarterly theory thing. And now we have CRT. I have no idea what it is, my friend. I'm also not going to look into it. It's just another shiny object syndrome thing that Twitter is crazy about. Yeah, it's all over Twitter. I don't know. It's just, I think it's almost the same as your candle signs concept. Okay. No comment. That's interesting. That's interesting. Candle signs is, by the way, something we will dive into deeper as well. Canadian dollar CHF. Let's see. Canadian dollar CHF. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. Potentially reaching for that monthly value gap right there. On the weekly, what are we doing? Very strong, aggressive push lower. On the daily. Ooh, okay. Sting into the daily value gap right there. Nice. Nice. I believe that's what I was waiting for, actually. This was something I was looking at last week, but I was waiting for the daily value gap right there. To have a sting into it. Currently, nice rejection off it. Can reach the monthly value gap right there. That's looking very good, actually. Wow. What's news doing, actually? What is news doing? Let's take a look. We have GP news, right? Not a lot of news. Canadian dollar on Wednesday. Okay. Okay. Not a lot of news, but could definitely be quite interesting. I do like it. I do like it. Lower prices. I like it. It's the flow price after the entry in the same time frame. Love to see it, Rodrigo. Love to see it. Love to see it. What is Nvidia? Nvidia is a stock. GME. Let's take a look at GME. I remember the last quote unquote short squeeze we had right there. It was not this one, actually. Wait, there's a new one. Oh wow. It was this one. That one was a funny time. But it's always been like a meme stock. A meme stock. Very funny. Interesting. I'm not going to do an analysis or anything. It's just, this is the same as investing in a shitcoin, essentially. FG work on Bank Nifty. Yes, for sure. For sure, my friend. New series kindly be more on daily trading concepts on indices. Yeah, I'm looking to create the new series in a form that that we can potentially make it fractal. So it's a little bit about everything. If you want to position trade, perfect, you can do it. Everything, essentially. After A to Z, you can, if you want, you can go to Market Mastery. Also playlist. Also the playlist. Love to hear that, Fimuzi. I will let Derek know. I will let Derek know. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. After A to Z, Market Mastery. And then you can also combine it with individual videos. So, for example, what I wanted to mention as well, if you go into the retracement video that we had, where the one secret to knowing if a PD ray will hold, if you combine that with the understanding of the recent video that we go over, it adds together. And that's usually when you get that link. It's not necessarily a series, but if you link those together, it's very powerful. Because just one video is not going to do it. As in, you don't need all the videos. That's also something I want to mention. You don't need all my videos, because I will just keep creating videos. So eventually you need to also, we need to move you away, if that makes sense. But for example, combining the retracement understanding with the recent video that we had, so the institutional, etc., market structure, market make model, and then also the consolidation, because the consolidation is really important. Because for example, what I did not mention in the video, why does this, where is it? Why does this fair value area not get respected perfectly right there to then continue higher from? Why are we not seeking liquidity at the bottom right there? Because we're consolidating. So what happens? We have this area right there, reject it, fail to follow through. We create this bearish value gap, which we can now use to start seeking that liquidity. First target being this. Afterwards, we fail to follow through off of this fair value gap right there, whereafter we start to consolidate, where now we want to stay out. So that's why I recommended the consolidation, because the only thing, if we're not seeking liquidity or offering fair value, is consolidating. And that's usually where a lot of people start losing their profits. That's important. Can you talk some information about MMT? What do you want to know, my friend? What do you want to know? You can also send an email, indeed. You can also send an email. You can also go to the website, ario.io. We have new, very exciting things, at least in my opinion, coming for the MMT as well. So I'm very excited for that. It's essentially all you need in the MMT. All you need. And you have a beautiful community around you as well. Very positive people, actually, which I personally have not seen it before. Usually communities tend to be very chaotic, which very, some negative people as well, which we don't really have. That's beautiful. That's why it works so well, I believe. Let's see. You play football. I mean, with friends from a football country, the Netherlands, you have to play football, of course, but I personally don't really play football. No, I don't play football. Basketball, mainly. Basketball, which I don't really play anymore, unfortunately, but I used to play basketball at the highest level. Is Fun and Friends going to have swap-free option? Yes, because we are going to have little sneak peek swing accounts. Hi, dude, how are you? I'm doing great. Thank you. thank you. Thank you. Did you say MMT was monthly now? No. We're going to move to monthly again. So there's going to be a switch in the MMT. I'll keep you updated for sure. Keep a lookout for that. Celtics or Mavericks? Probably Celtics, but I hope Mavericks. I hope Mavericks, but let's be honest, Celtics is the better team. I don't think Mavericks, they're starting to get there, but not good enough yet. Will Fun and Friends use MetaTrader? No, not yet at least. And the difficult part about that is even if brokers or prop firms, use MetaTrader, and MetaTrader, so MetaQuotes, finds out that you use MetaQuotes, so MetaTrader 5, MetaTrader 4, for prop firm usage, be very careful about that, because you might get just banned from MetaQuotes as well. So be careful. Do you know Virat Kohli? I have no idea, my friend. No idea. I'm from Brazil. Love to see it, my friend. Love to see it. Do you have a Discord server except the Fun and Friends one? Free one? No. Only the MMT one. That's the Discord. First stream. I've been waiting. Thank you, Artie. Thank you all. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate it. Time frame alignments. That's a huge topic. Time frame alignments. Actually, I would advise, there's a video about that. So the best time frames and how you can go about time frame alignments. The best time frame was a recent video that we actually uploaded, if you want to watch that. Slippage happens for all red folder news, even if it was not big 3 news event news. No, not all red folder news. Depends on the broker again, because if you have a very, well, let's say quote unquote shitty broker or shitty prop firm, and they want to cause you some slippage, then you will get slipped on red folder news as well, because it's just an excuse for them to slip you. But other than that, it's you don't really have to worry about that. I would worry maybe about PPI. PMI maybe a little bit. But other than that, if you have unemployment claims, for example, don't really have to worry about it. Can you please combine candle size and market structure? I'm stuck with this. That could be very interesting. And the way I want to combine this in one of the videos that's actually coming as well is how can we combine the candle signs with the understanding of PD rates if they want to hold. I said that, and as soon as I thought of that, there could be someone, because I don't know if people notice it, it's very funny. When I used to mention always what is the next video that's coming up in the what is it? In the, I'm stuck again, the camera. But I used to mention always what is the next video for YouTube. And people start copying actually and start claiming that I was copying them. That's very funny. All right, let me fix my camera. Let me check again. There it is. Perfect. There it is. Let's see. Breakfast today. I had some eggs. Today. Thank you. Let's see. My friend, who's part of the mentoring in the Essential Plan will be able to participate in the Fun and Friends Discord? Yeah, Fun and Friends for sure. 100%. If you talk about the MMT Discord, then currently no. But again, Essentials currently is closed. But we have something for that as well coming. I see a lot of YouTubers use your concept, but they give you credit. Yeah, that's also why I wanted to use, or I wanted to make a series because about money-making concepts, because I've seen a lot of people on every social media platform, by the way, use sharp turn, for example, but they don't mention it as a sharp turn. Very smart. Or use candle signs, but they don't mention it as candle signs. Also very smart. But yeah, I've also seen a lot of people do that. So that's also why I wanted to make a series around it. What are the concepts, etc. What can we use? Just clear it up. Do you know Imran Khan? I have no idea, my friend, who those people are. I have no idea. Or am I saying something crazy when I pronounce it? I hope not. Let's see. Euro Canadian dollar. What do we have? Let me actually see if we have Let's do it like this. I put a timer on the messages on the chat right here. Just to go over a little bit more questions as well. All right, Euro Canadian dollar. Let's see. What do we have? Monthly. Daily. I have my cam. My bad. Here it is. And it's stuck. Oh no, it's not stuck. Perfect. Okay, we have this daily fair value gap right here, which we can potentially continue higher from. Fair value area sitting right there as well. So let's see if we get the proper confirmation right there to continue higher. We have a 4-hour value gap going against us. So ideally what we want to have right here, very simply said, disrespect the 4-hour value gap with a new 4-hour value gap right there. To then continue higher off that. Let's go into the 1 hour. Almost creating a 1 hour sharp turn as well. Right here. Very interesting actually. Does look quite good for higher prices right here. Let's keep an eye on it. Looks good. Nice haircut. Thank you. I'm still looking to grow it out more. It's a little bit annoying to me because I'm in between that phase. Everyone who got a buzz cut or got short hair wants to grow it out again. Probably knows the struggle when you're trying to grow it out and it looks a bit. Yeah. Do you follow cricket? I don't. I do know India is very good at cricket. Very good. It was recent, right? Cricket was a world championship, something like that. Cricket. I'm not sure. It's not about the chart of forecast, but is that spherical light at the back moving? Just curious. It's not moving. I can make it move. Oh wait, this one is moving. Yeah, it's a small little moon. The other ones are not moving. Yeah, that one is moving. It's a small moon actually. Very interesting. It was a struggle to make it float like that, but it worked at the end of the day. You look Kevin De Bruyne. Thank you. I guess. Thank you. Did you take any trade this week? Yes, I took a loss on silver. Right here. Not that interesting. It was a trader here that I took a loss on silver. And I took a winning trade on CHFJPY right here. Daily value gap right there. Clear target. 4 hour right there. The entry was actually this. This was the entry, which is we call it a stick entry in MMT, which is based on candle signs. Quite interesting. Did you see what Andrew Tate did? I did not, my friend. I did not. What is more precise to use? Sharp turn or second fair value gap out of discount or premium rate? I like to use second fair value gap. Sharp turn is very fancy, but usually people, the thing is about sharp turn, it can be very effective. For example, this is a sharp turn entry actually, but a sharp turn is, usually people hear about it, they think it's very fancy, some kind of magical thing. But if you don't combine the time frames correctly, then it's dangerous. Do you know Sir Pickle? Yes, Sir Pickle is actually in the MMT as well. Sir Pickle is usually in the live streams as well, in the live sessions that we have in the MMT. Yes, well, my student, he's in MMT, yes. He also uses sharp turns, etc. What do you think of Reality Trend Surfing? Reality Trend Surfing is a great book, and it's one of the books that I would recommend everyone to read if you have the opportunity. It changed my life. Let's put it that way. Reality Trend Surfing is a difficult book, very difficult book, but an amazing book. An amazing book. Really good book. Let's see. Ah, okay, sorry. I mentioned it wrong. The swing accounts won't be swap free. Excuse me. I think I messed it up with, what is it? Not swap free, the other one. I'm not sure. I got confused. My bad. What's the book's name? Reality Trend Surfing. It's by Vadim Zeeland. Reality Trend Surfing. I'm struggling with ICT Mentorship 2022. What is your advice? Understand that the mentorship 2022 from ICT is an entry pattern. It's mainly, the whole series is mainly about entry patterns. And some could argue if that it's also about bias, etc. But so what you're essentially missing out on is when you have the foundation levels, people start off with a bias, a narrative, you have a context area, an entry, and risk management. The 5 foundation levels. ICT, he doesn't really go over it as in, yes, bias, etc. a little bit, but not in depth. The most in-depth part is fully about liquidity sweep and the start at the 4 foundation level, which is entry. So that makes it a bit confusing, in my opinion. It's a great mentorship, but that part is missing. But he did go over that in different other series. For example, core content, he goes more in depth on bias, narrative, etc. Can I really get profitable using only fair value gaps? 100%, yes. And again, only fair value gaps is like, I have no other concept besides fair value gaps. That's not true, of course, because I still use fair value areas. I still use market structure a little bit, order flow, of course, but they're all based on fair value gaps. So everything starts with fair value gaps. All right, what should I do when I see you and lose my self-respect? Don't do that, man. Work on yourself, brother. Work on your confidence. There's no need for that. Sir Pickle is very good. Now I know why. Hey, he's a great trader. Again, also credits to Sir Pickle, right? A great mind. Minds think alike, right? Great trader. How do I join your mentorship? On ario.io or info@ario.io. All right, team. I don't want to do it, but welcome back. Thank you. I don't want to do it, but I am going to do it. I want to thank everyone for being here. It was an insane support for this live stream. Absolutely insane. Thank you very much. I will be your best student. Prove it, my friend. Send me an email to info@ario.io when you have your certificates, etc. Prove it to me, my friend. Can't wait to see it. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to end it right here. Again, live stream every Sunday, 11 a.m. New York local time. And we will be back. So thank you, everyone. Porsche or BMW, Porsche. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see everyone at the next one. All right. Thank you.